Are you making time for the things that excite you, that just make you feel so passionate and excited about life, just fire you up? It could be anything. I just beg you to explore what that is for you. It's unique for every single one of us, but are you making time for that? Because that fuels that fire in your soul. And when you don't have that fire in your soul, you do feel exhausted and drained and like you don't want to do anything else because you're not fueling the most essential part of you.
Welcome to Alignment Adventures. This is a podcast where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling, aligning, and present life. I'm your host, Lindsay Tanner, and I am so grateful that you are here.
Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another episode. It feels so good to be here, and I'm sending you so much love, no matter what situation or day or mood or vibration you are in. I hope this episode brings you alignment and expansion and all of the things. And excuse me, I had to clear my throat because that congestion is creeping back in and we do not want it here, but that's okay. We're going to keep recording anyways. Today I want to talk about a realization that I had back in October. I alluded to it in my first episode that I did a couple weeks ago where I was coming back and catching up with all of you. But let me just say that I have had a mind story. And if you're unfamiliar with mind stories, these are like subconscious beliefs. That's what I call them, mind stories. They're not necessarily true that we operate from. And we have so many of them. There's nothing wrong with us. We all have them. We pick them up from experiences, circumstances, family members, childhood, media, society, wherever. We just pick it up because we're human and that's what happens. But you don't have to follow the mind stories. You don't have to listen to the mind stories. You can release them and tune back into your heart, tune back into your internal guidance and find your truth. And a lot of times you just need something that like totally rocks your world where you're like, oh my gosh, that wasn't true at all. It was just something that I've been telling myself and I've been creating my own reality by telling myself that. Like that's the beauty and the shadow side of we create our own reality, which is my truth, is like sometimes you're creating it from expansive truths from your heart and sometimes you're creating it from limiting mind stories. Well, I have had a limiting mind story this past few years that I don't have time. And I feel like a lot of that comes from, being a mom now. Obviously, that takes up a lot of my time, especially being a stay-at-home mom. I am with Arlo all the time and I love it. And I love soaking up that time. It's a lot. Sometimes I need my breaks. But when you only get like a few hours here and there, you're like, what do I do with my free time? Like, I don't have time. I need to do this, this, and this. It's so easy to get caught up in that mind story of I don't have time. And this is whether you're a mom or not. I just feel like motherhood really magnifies that story. You could just have a busy career. You could have a lot of commitments, whatever it may be. That is a common belief for a lot of us, is that we don't have time to do the things that we want to do. First off, I want to reference an episode I recorded last winter about how time is an illusion. I bring in the science and the spiritual teachings on how time is not how we perceive it. And I had such a beautiful example of this last month. So last month in October, I decided to do something crazy, which I love doing crazy things. It's one of my favorite hobbies, to post a video every single weekday, just sharing my love for October, for fall, for Halloween, for all things spooky, witchy, magical, all of that. I had so much fun doing that. I had so many ideas I didn't even get to because I did run out of time at the end. But I did it. I posted 20 videos in the month of October. So I did almost every single weekday. And before that, I struggled getting out one video a week or one podcast a week. I was like, I don't have time. I can't do it. That is what I've been telling myself and perpetuating that belief because, your beliefs turn into your reality. So if I believe that I don't have time, then I'm going to feel like I don't have time and I'm going to see that in my reality. But this just totally blew up that mind story. And when I was doing this, because when I first had the idea, I was like, oh my gosh, Lindsay, you feel a little stressed out already and really you're going to commit to doing something every single day, like recording, editing, and publishing a video every single day, you struggle doing one a week. But I was doing it because I was so excited about it and it felt so aligned and expansive. So here's my lesson. Here's my takeaway. One, like I already mentioned, is just examine those mind stories. Is it your truth? Maybe like push the envelope on those mind stories. Like try to find evidence to make it not true because it wasn't true. Like I have time to do the things that are aligning and fulfilling to me. Like I mentioned in that first episode, as I was recording, editing, and publishing those videos every single weekday, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm not like, I was busy, of course. It was taking up a lot of my time, but I wasn't like sacrificing things. Like it was like time was fitting me like a glove. Now, Bella Lively talks about this a lot. You guys know that she is my inspiration. I love her podcast so much, and she has been such a beautiful teacher to me. But she talked about this years ago. When you take aligned action, when you are doing things that align with you, when you're not forcing things, you're just letting them flow through you, time fits you like a glove. And that is just such a beautiful thing to experience. I'm sure you've experienced it at some point in your life. But like I said, those mind stories and societal norms are so pervasive that like we got to stay busy and we got to do all the things. Like we busy ourselves with the most random, nonsensical, non-essential things all the time. Numero uno being scrolling on social media. If you feel like you don't have time, I want you to take a hard look at how much you're on your phone. I still do it because I'm human. I delete social media a lot. I will delete it, come back, because I sometimes don't have the self-control. But when I do pull up the app, I can feel that voice from inside saying, it's quiet. Because our internal guidance is a quiet voice for the most part. It's quiet. It says, this isn't the most aligning activity. You're just doing this to like occupy yourself. You could go read your book or record a podcast or do many other things besides scrolling on social media. So if you feel like you don't have time, I want you to take a hard look at how much you're on your phone. Now, if it is aligning activity, like if you like, for example, watching YouTube videos, I love doing that from time to time. But again, I just become aware of how often I'm doing it. So that's the first thing I want you to explore is just how much you're on your phone. Then I also want you to just kind of gently audit other commitments. Like I break my free time up into sections. Let me just give you some practical examples because I feel like those are the most useful for you. My free time mostly comes in the morning if I get up earlier than Arlo, during his nap time, which he is not consistently napping anymore, and I'm really scared that he's just like not gonna nap because he's almost 2.5. So hopefully I'm not creating that reality. I'm not trying to manifest that any more than it's already happening. Hopefully he keeps his nap. So I've got the morning when he naps, and then after I get home from babysitting, because you guys know that I watch Arlo's cousin 3 days a week, Steven will take Arlo with him to the gym. So I get like an hour, sometimes a little bit less if I have to start dinner to get something done. And then after he goes to sleep. So those are like my chunks of time to do things that I want to do. And another thing that has really helped, because I felt like this past year when I did get free time, like I just felt so exhausted and drained and forced. Like I was like dragging myself to come in here into my office to record things. Like it felt so forced. So if you feel like you are forcing something, maybe it is a matter of taking a break from it, seeing how you feel, and then coming back to it. Maybe it is something you do not need in your life anymore that you're forcing. Let it go if that's the case. That's what I did with the podcast, and I was missing it, and I like felt so excited to come in here and create. That's how I feel now. So maybe it's a matter of just giving yourself a break, taking a week off from these other obligations. But I also want you to examine, are you making time for the things that excite you, that just make you feel so passionate and excited about life, just fire you up? It could be anything. I just beg you to explore what that is for you. It's unique for every single one of us, but are you making time for that? Because that fuels that fire in your soul. And when you don't have that fire in your soul, you do feel exhausted and drained and like you don't want to do anything else because you're not fueling the most essential part of you. So I feel like it's, again, kind of like this backwards way of thinking about it. But a lot of times, in order to give yourself that time and to make time work for you, you have to find what the thing is that you need to do that's going to light you up. And then once you find that thing, the time just appears. It really does. That was the case for me. Once I found out what I wanted to do, what excited me, when I was getting the ideas, they were just like flowing out of me like, okay, I can do this video and I can do this video and I can do this video. And then the time just worked out and I was able to accomplish it. So I encourage you to be a little scientist, a little experimenter over here, which I love tapping into the scientist experimenting energy. Just explore something that you've been wanting to do. Start taking little steps towards it and see how time starts to bend for you. Don't put like too much focus on it. Just start to work towards these things. Start to make a little time here and there. It could be to meditate. It could be to craft more. It could be to garden more. It could be to Lego more. Whatever it is, make time here and there for those little things that just light you up, or maybe planning a trip, anything, and see how time starts to just work out for you and fit you like a glove. Because here I am recording my 3rd episode since I've been back, and time is fitting me like a glove. It is so beautiful to continue to witness and be the example of. That's what I just want to be for all of you, an example of a different way of living, a different way of seeing things. And if you have that story that you don't have enough time, I really want you to challenge it and see how you can see that a little bit differently, because most likely you do have the time to do whatever it is that is exciting you. Again, really evaluate, what do you want to give your time to? Maybe you think you don't have time for something because you really just don't want to go do that thing. Don't do that thing if you can. Don't go do it. If you don't have time for it and you don't want to do it, bye. See you later thing. I'm just releasing you from my life, and tune back to the things that you do want to do. All right. I feel like that's a message I have every single week, but it just fires me up. Like I said, I love tuning into that energy, those feelings of expansion and possibility. And nothing gets me more excited than seeing people do the things that they love to do, whether it's a sport or something that they loved as a little kid, traveling, whatever. Go do the things that you are excited about. So please share this episode with anyone that you think needs to hear this message. If you are new here, please subscribe on any platform that you're listening to. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. On Spotify and YouTube, you can leave comments down below. So let me know what you thought of this episode. Have you had the same experience with time? Do you have the same mind stories about time that I did? Because I know it is so common. I'm sending you all so much love, and I'm so grateful every single time you join me on Alignment Adventures. And of course, I will see you in the next episode.